Cute trap!
Ah! It's too adorable! It's too adorable! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Today we're talking about traps. Roll clip.
Today we are talking about traps and how you as a DM can set up a trap that really feels like it belongs in your story.
Right. There's such a temptation when it comes to playing D&D to make a trap just for the sake of making a trap. But there are better ways to do it. Risk-reward situations. Ways to make it feel like it's actually impeding the player. And not just oh, now I'm hurt. What the heck?
Mm-hmm. I feel like those types of traps have a time and a place, and we will be talking about that today.
Yeah. So one of the trap ideas we want to talk about is how you can make a trap that's really meaningful in a situation. So, for example, there's something that the player needs to get, and it's locked behind a series of traps, or even one really big kind of trap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is a very good use of traps because every single time your players are put in a dangerous situation, they have to be rewarded, whether that is for goods or with information.
Here's an example for you. Your players go into a dungeon. They're there to find the collar of cannabis.
Mm-hmm. And for some random reason, every single one of these traps here are fire traps.
As they're walking through this dungeon looking for the collar of cannabis, suddenly a coffin falls open.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being attacked by a mummy.
Now, they're fighting the mummy, they're throwing their spells, and they really realize that nothing is super effective against this mummy except for fire damage.
Right. And as they walked in, maybe they saw signs of fire traps being used. Maybe they saw a couple of charred corpses.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a super obvious button. So yeah, you see a charred corpse over top this weird-looking emblem.
This way, you set up for the players to realize, hey, maybe these fire traps are not here to keep people out, but to keep something in.
Potentially. So, now your players have something they can do with this. Go, oh, we can kill this mummy. He's too hard to... all our normal attacks aren't doing any damage. However, we could lure him into a trap spot. Maybe he's not very intelligent. Maybe he just walks towards enemies. Maybe that's his pattern. He doesn't actually have much other intelligence other than that, so he's more than happy to walk into stuff.
Or you have to do some control moves, have the barbarian shove the mummy into a trap, or have the wizard do some sort of push spell to move the mummy into a trap.
Such as Gust.
Yes.
Or maybe he's intelligent enough that the wizard could do suggestion and tell him, walk there.
That would be a very good example.
This gives your characters, or your players, makes it feel like they have some kind of control over what's going on with these traps. That they feel like, and they feel really awesome as a result.
It also changes the combat from being a hack and slash to more of a puzzle.
Right, and puzzles are often way more memorable than hack and slashes go. What are some other trap examples?
I feel like every single time you bring a trap into your story, it has to have a reason. If you are springing a trap on your players just to spring a trap, let's say they are trying to open up a very precious chest that has a very rare item in it. You want that trap to just be a quick and done, so that way they can get over it and move on with the story.
For example, you don't want to have a trap where they open the chest and suddenly I'll get hit with a sticky liquid that sticks them to the wall.
Mm-hmm. And then they spend the next 15 minutes trying to get unstuck.
Yeah, it just doesn't work well for them. A better way to do this one.
Yeah, a better way, and Tate thought of this, is if, let's say they were chasing somebody, and then they get hit with the sticky trap.
Yeah. So they gotta catch this guy. This guy has information, or he's kidnapped somebody, or maybe he's a murderer that's on the run.
Or he stole the MacGuffin.
Yeah, he stole the collar of Cerebus. Now, the players know they need to catch him. As they're running, maybe somebody steps on a trap. Sticky trap comes through. But it only affects a small area, so maybe not all the players get stuck in it. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, well, do we leave these guys behind and let them try to get out on their own? Or do we stop and help them?
This is also very good. Anytime you can make your players have to make a choice is making that more story-driven. If it's a one and all, or you made the choice for your players, or you only give them one option, then it's lackluster, and your players will become bored.
And one thing I've said quite often, I'm sure Len's going to get tired of me saying this, is as a DM, you are not God. You are helping the players live and tell a story. It's collaborative storytelling. And the more control the players have, the more fun it's going to be for them.
Another option for traps and giving players options or decisions to make is making it clear that there are traps there. And then the players have to decide for themselves, is this a trap I want to set off or not?
Right. So going back to the caller of Cerebus. Let's say you're in the same dungeon with the mummy.
Yeah.
You just finished killing the mummy through this cool fire puzzle trap idea. And so now you go through the next door and you see it's a long hallway. And at the end of the hallway you see a chest. And maybe there's some kind of inscription saying the caller of Cerebus, whatever.
And maybe you find out along the way that if you were to step on certain panels on the floor, it will make the floor come out. But there's a second adventuring party right behind you. This would be a really good way to prevent them from following you through this corridor.
Right. So you here comes the risk. Do you risk stepping on the stones to keep the other adventure party from getting through, or do you just try to get through safely, which may take longer?
Right.
You risk taking damage or falling or even dying, with the trade-off of being able to stop this other adventuring party. Or you can take it slower, and maybe they have to end up fighting the other adventuring party. They just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe the other adventuring party will get caught in said trap.
Right. Maybe they die, and maybe you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And this is a really good way of just making, giving players information helps them make more decisions.
Right. Again, you don't want to hide everything behind your little DM screen and make yourself feel so powerful. You want to make sure your characters, your players, have options so they can succeed and feel involved.
Sometimes, maybe you want to just set up a trap that is super obviously a bad decision, but your players want to have a little bit of fun. Like, maybe they see the sarcophagus of the mummy, and they have the option of opening the sarcophagus or leaving it closed.
And that's what starts the mummy boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
If they left it alone, it wouldn't have happened. And maybe they even open it, there's nothing in there, and it's just a boss fight. You just have an optional boss fight now. Have fun with that.
Yeah. Now that would be super boring, but if you were to have it open up and then maybe the mummy tells untold secrets about the world, that sets them up for the next quest.
Right. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with traps. Now, one thing that London did mention that I do want to touch on a little bit is when he said one and done traps. These do have a place. You do want to have surprise traps every so often. Mm-hmm. A good one example of this, maybe they open a door and a poison cloud comes out when they open the door.
Or maybe they stole a wallet from a wizard, and the wizard, of course, is going to have a magical wallet that protects itself from thieves.
Right, so maybe they try to reach into it and bite them or something.
Yeah. It's like a mimic wallet.
And dude, can you imagine? Holy crap!
Yeah.
Some dude trains a mimic
Yeah,
and has it turn into a wallet?
Money.
Jiminy Christmas! There are times and places for surprise traps, but you don't want it to be so out of the blue that players just don't know what to expect. For example, I ran a campaign with some people where we did a zombie thing. You were in that one.
Mm-hmm.
They were just raiding a mall for supplies. And I had a trap. You actually got hit by this trap, too. You opened a door and it just blew up.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the crap? Why did it blow up? And in my head, someone else had gone through and booby-trapped in place. But it wouldn't make sense. If you're going to booby-trap in place, you're going to be going back and checking it. It just didn't make sense in the context. It didn't make sense in gameplay format. It just wasn't a good trap. They have their time and their place, but you have to be careful with them.
Also, the more dangerous your traps are, I feel like they need a little bit more hype and less of a surprise. Like, maybe there is a series of traps leading up to the big scary one, so that way when it does go off and it's unexpected, they are already aware, like, okay, the last one, like, one trap ago shot a poison dart at me. The next trap shot a fireball at me. And then the very last one was like a power word kill.
A what?
A power word kill. It's a spell that just outright kills anyone.
Oh, fetch.
Anybody with less than 100 hit points. But I would only do something like that when you feel like your players have the ability to deal with it. Like, somebody has the ability to return somebody back from the dead.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just like a...
Screw you moment.
It's just a screw you moment.
And people don't find those fun. Mm-hmm. They find those frustrating.
Or make it super obvious that this trap is that deadly and give them the option to pedal back and rethink their decisions.
Yeah, maybe there's an inscription above the door that says, all that have entered before have died, all that will enter will continue to do so. Turn back now, and I give them a choice. Do we walk through the door and risk this death? Or do we find another path? And maybe you show another path, but that's beside the point.
Right. So make it worthwhile, and especially like have every single dangerous scenario that you put your players in have some form of reward. Even if, like, this even goes for random encounters. Don't throw a random encounter at your players just to fill in the time. Throw a random encounter at your players so that way they can learn something more about the environment that they're currently going through.
Right, maybe they start walking into a forest and they get attacked by zombies. Oh crap, now we know there's undead here.
Yeah. Or maybe they're sailing across the sea and then they get attacked by pirates, and when they defeat the pirates, they then know what type of pirates they need to really look out for.
Right, they're all scared of Scurvy Joe. This isn't Scurvy Joe. Anyway, that's another topic for another video entirely. But hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, we do a video like this every Friday, where we talk about just random D&D stuff. It's a lot of fun. Every 15th of the month we do a live play, where we actually play D&D and sit down and have a fun little thing with a bunch of people.
Please subscribe so you can get all of our videos and know when they are happening as they come live every week.
And hey, remember to do those perception checks before you walk into any room. This has been Out of Initiative.
Woo!